Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Susan Damiani. I am Director of Gift Planning and the Director of the McAllen Society, the St. John's Legacy Society. And welcome to our St. John's Power Hour number 44. And the Power Hours this month, the programming is focused in celebration of Women's History Month. And I'm so happy to have our speaker, ChihYu Smith. Hi, ChihYu. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Susan. Thank you for having me. And hi, everyone who's watching this event live or calling in. Thank you so much. And thanks for having me.
Oh, we really appreciate it. You're going to love this. I've really been looking forward to this Power Hour. I think it's great because it's sort of twofold. ChihYu's actually going to discuss with us how she made this career shift that I think is so creative, thinking outside the box, especially during a pandemic. And she's talented all the way around. And let me just briefly give you some of her background. She is the creator of the popular food blog, I Heart Umami. And it's where she shares her Asian-inspired Paleo, it says Whole30 and keto recipes, which maybe you've been reading in the news. It's quite popular now. She's also the founder of Easy Homemade, an interactive online meal planning program to help professionals plan flavorful, healthy meals without spending hours in the kitchen. Of course, we all love that. And she's a native Taiwanese. She grew up in a Chinese cultural household with influences from families of how do you say it? Sichuan? Sichuan and Northern Chinese cuisines, where a wide variety of delicious homemade meals are always within reach. And her dishes represent her cultural heritage and personality, bold, colorful, and full of character. And this is another fascinating part. She's a former concert pianist and became an Amazon bestseller for her cookbook, Asian Paleo. It received #1 ranking in 4 major cookbook categories. Congratulations. That's wonderful. For Chinese cooking, Korean cooking, gluten-free, and high-protein diets. She's been featured in NBC News Wellness, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Women's Health Magazine. You've made quite a name for yourself, ChihYu. Congratulations. And then on top of it, she's so well educated. I don't know how you found time for all of this because you're still so young. Master's in Higher Ed and Administration at Columbia University. Business Administration certificate, School of Continuing Ed, Columbia. Master's degree in piano performance from the Manhattan School of Music, New York City. I have questions to ask you about that. Bachelor's degree in Fine Arts Piano Performance from the National Taipei University of the Arts, and now enrolled as a doctoral musical arts candidate, Boston University. God bless you.
Yeah,
you're a busy lady. You're a busy lady.
That was like a decade ago. Great. That was like a decade ago that I had a career shift out.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a concert pianist and touring around the world, and then I had to change part.
Wow. So where did it all begin in terms of your musical career? And then help us understand that you went from musical to then you went into your cooking, your whole career, and that took off too.
Okay, so great question, and it's actually very, very interesting. So I started learning piano when I was 4 years old. So my father took me to Yamaha Music School in Taiwan, and my family, there no musicians in my family, but I think the reason my father took me to study music because he likes the idea of me being able to have my own business one day and be able to work from home. And at his mind, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you know, the career path that he could perceive for me was, it would be nice if I take ChihYu to learn piano so she can become a piano teacher and she can run her own business and working from home. And so, little did we know. And then, so he took me there every single week. And then the next thing you know is just, I keep passing the exam and just went all the way high school and college. And the next thing you know is I moved to New York City right before 9/11 to pursue my master's degree in piano performance. So
your
that's
father
how
was very progressive. Don't you think your father, for those years back, your father was very progressive? He almost seems like a psychic, like he could predict the future.
He loves the
That's
idea
wonderful.
of like pushing me out to learn things. He said, just because you're a girl, but it doesn't mean that you should just go out and experience as many things as you can, especially Taiwan is a small country. So he wants me to learn English from early on. I had a tutor, and then because he knows one day he wants me to go out to try different things. And and that's when I was in New York studying music. I met my husband, and so after that I got married, and then I went to Boston for a bit to pursue my doctor's degree, and he actually moved with me. But 1 year in, I realized I just don't want to spend all my time inside a library because I'm a very outgoing person. I want to go out to experience things. And I just realized the library is not so much for me. I don't like to write papers. I don't want to spend that much time in the library every day. And then so my husband got a job in New York City at NYU at that time. So we decided to move back to New York City. And that's the time I decided to think about what do I really wanted to do? I love music. I love art. I love performing art. But I was not that enjoy when it becomes my job that I had to go out to make a living. I realized that it wasn't that fun for me anymore, that it becomes something that I think
like a chore.
Right, a lot of artists actually can understand. You're struggling to live in New York City. So I started looking into maybe I need to get a second degree, second education, something, get a different diploma. And that's how I stumbled upon a job at Columbia University at that time. And then, so because they pay for my tuition fee. And that's how I met Shazam today. And then
that's great.
Yeah.
But let me interrupt you. You're being a bit modest because not just anyone gets into Manhattan School of Music. You have to be very, very good. So you had this like wonderful talent. So you really practiced at it. You really had to have a passion for it, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah, absolutely. Since I was 4 years old until I was maybe 26, 27.
And is the school
every single day.
The school as tough as it says? Because they had that, I'm trying to think of the movie about the drummer, begins with an S, and I can't remember the movie. If anybody knows, please put it in the chat. But it won, I think, an Academy Award. And it talked about this professor who was very, very hard on his students when he was drumming, and he went to the Manhattan School of Music. What was the environment like in the school? I mean, was it very driven, very competitive?
Very competitive, very competitive. And then I enjoyed the environment very much because there's not only classical music department, there was also a jazz music department and a vocal arts department. So it's very easy for you to collaborate with students from different departments to do different performing arts. And the academic subject matter and also the professors are seriously world class.
Yes. Wow, that must have been some experience.
Yeah, it's like a dream come true. It's like a dream come true. Yeah.
So where did you play then once you did graduate and you were performing at different venues when you were pianist?
mainly teaching actually. So mainly
okay.
teaching, like, you know, kids, teenagers to adults, you know, who have time at home, they want to learn how to play piano. So mainly it's like a piano teacher.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very nice. My
Yeah.
student just helped me out. The movie's called Whiplash. I love
Oh,
the
yes.
movie. And I don't know if you saw it, but I was just
No,
curious
not
if you
yet.
thought it was kind of true to life, if it was that competitive. I hope all the professors weren't like the one in the movie. But so now you're working at Columbia University, and then where do you go from there in your
Yeah,
career?
so I was at Columbia for almost, I think almost 4.5 years, close to 5 years, and I finished another degree there in higher education and administration because I thought I wanted to be an administrator and I worked in the school. And then, but I realized it's around the same time my health deteriorates because I was mainly stressed out about my work a lot, and I also went to night school to finish my second degree. So I'd be home 9, 10 p.m. and then started eating dinner and then ordering takeout a lot. And then a few years down the road, I gained a lot of weight and then I wasn't feeling well, just in terms of my own health. And then I realized I actually need to start looking into, you know, my own health first. You know, so that's how I stumbled upon the paleo diet, paleo lifestyle. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it was
Yeah.
your own personal experience that brought you to your cooking.
Yeah, and
That's
then
great.
so when I was starting out, because I just wanted to eat better, you know, I'm not someone like, you know, follow any specific trendy diet, you know, just growing up in Taiwan, we don't have a Mediterranean diet or Weight Watcher or something. We don't have those things. And then I wasn't grew up in those environments either. So I was a little bit suspicious about what is this paleo stuff. And then, but once I studying into it, basically is teaching you to eat more vegetables, high quality proteins, and good carbohydrates. Meaning that, you know, sweet potatoes and yams, they have more vitamins and nutrients inside than if you just eat a lot of plain rice, pasta, or you know, just and then. But it's not asking you to take those things out, just in terms of asking you to shift the proportion wise. So always more vegetables, good quality protein, and then smaller portion of carbohydrates. And I realized once I learned that knowledge, I have to cook more at home by myself because when you order takeout, it's just not going to work that way. And so I started searching for recipes on the website because I grew up in Taiwan. I want to eat the food that I grew up eating, the flavor that my grandmother used to cook for me. And although there are many wonderful Asian-inspired paleo recipes or low-carb recipes out there on the internet, but I want to make things my own because the flavor sometimes it's just not exactly quite to my palate. I would say that. So basically, I started creating my own recipes. I followed the taste spots. You know, basically, my family gave it to me. I was there until I was almost 21, 22 years old. So, right. So I didn't come over here until I was for graduate school. So that's the taste buds already very, very imprinted in me. And so I started sharing recipes on the website with people. And then once people try it, they were like, wow. You know, I mean, mom's telling me that the kids don't eat broccoli, but somehow when they make my chicken broccoli, when they make my beef broccoli, they eat it. Or people live somewhere, you know, they cannot get great Asian food. When they make mine at home, they would say, this tastes so much better than the takeout stuff. We will never order anything from takeout anymore. I was like, good. So
That's great.
Yeah, I just keep going.
So you found a niche. There was a niche there.
Yeah, there was a niche
covered.
there. Right. And then because, you know, to me, it's like, you know, I like to share food that I had a personal experience with. Maybe I traveled to that country before. Like in Taiwan, it's a smaller country, so we have a huge influence from Japan, from South Korea, from Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, and the Philippines. So growing up, all the food, flavors they are not foreign to me. So it's easier for me to recreate. And of course, growing up in a Taiwanese Chinese household, so the majority, the recipe on my website, I feel the most confident to tell people that this can, although it's paleo, but I can guarantee you it tastes as good as, very, very authentic stuff. So for anyone who's need to go for like gluten-free, paleo, low carb, or no added sugar type of cooking or dietary needs, I serve those audience.
That's great. So would it be, so you're saying it is authentic, so it's not like an Asian fusion type of,
I wouldn't say completely authentic, because completely authentic, you need to be able to use certain bottle of seasonings that that's not exactly paleo. For example, soy sauce, because paleo excludes soy in the diet. And I always like to explain a little bit more. I personally don't have any agenda against soy. But the problem is that most of the soy sauce, most of the soy product that we get nowadays is genetically modified soy. Like when I was growing up 30, 40 years ago in Taiwan, my next door neighbor, they grow soy themselves. They make beautiful soy milk. They grind it from stones. That's my friend. So I know how they grow the soy. It's not a modified ingredient. But unfortunately nowadays that's not the case anymore. So that's the reason most of my audience, when they are actually maybe allergic to soy, or maybe they are more careful about what they want to eat, what they want. So we use a different sauce called coconut aminos. Coconut aminos, you can see the color, right? It's pretty dark, almost like a soy
like
sauce.
Soy, yeah.
Right. So I have to tell you, this thing allowed me to run my blog, because when I started cooking paleo Asian food, it was like the first thing I was like, no soy sauce. How am I going to make Asian food?
Right.
I cannot just use salt and pepper. It's not
exactly
right. So to come back to what you say, is it 100% authentic? I never claim it's 100% authentic, because 100% authentic, you need to be able to use soy sauce. You need to be able to use oyster sauce. A lot of hoisin sauce, for example. No, but those things has ingredients that if you follow a paleo diet, that we don't recommend using. But luckily, there are a lot of substitute ingredients right now that accommodate people. So for example, coconut aminos, it's made from coconut blossom and the sea salt. So they blend these two together, and then it gives you a very deep, rich umami flavor. That's like the soy flavor gives to you. But it's slightly sweeter because it's derived from coconut blossom.
Coconut.
And
sounds delicious.
And Susan, what this also enables me, because paleo also encourages people, especially keto, don't use added sugar in your cooking, in your diet. And since this is naturally sweeter because it's from coconut blossom, so when you use it correctly, combined with other ingredients that you put inside your dish, like on my recipe, you actually don't need to use sugar in your cooking. And your food will still taste beautiful, well-rounded, not just salty flavor, but you also get a sweet flavor because of this.
That's great. So people who are thinking of starting up a business, it looks like you really had to be very creative and to think outside the box. So now you're working at Columbia when this is all going on. How much time are you putting into this right now? Or did you abandon Columbia altogether and then just say, okay, I'm going to go 100% to try to put together this as a business? Or did you not even realize that you were almost creating a new career, a new business for yourself?
Well, I actually wasn't pursuing my side hustle business when I was working at Columbia. I literally had no time. It was after Columbia, I actually went to a different school. And then I had more time there. So that's how when I started my side business. Right, because
So
Colombia.
you intentionally said to yourself, okay, I see this now. There's potential in this. I'm going to start a business for myself. You said that to yourself. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It comes back to, I think, it's something that when I was little, my father always wanted me to have my own business.
Right. The seeds were planted.
Little did we realize actually, 30 years later, being able to run business by yourself and online and at home doesn't necessarily has so many other possibilities, not just teaching music, but there you can literally do anything that you will find out. Maybe you love knitting, maybe you love drawing. You can start a business there. For example, like on Etsy, people selling all the different arts craft.
Right.
Right. Or maybe you build wood furniture or something, or painting or something. It's all sorts of possibilities, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it.
Are you surprised though where it's how it's evolved into? Did you ever think you'd do the cookbook, and is that surprising to you, or is it was in your head and you were driven and you knew this was what was going to happen?
I did take one online course from someone who's pretty famous in a niche to teach me how to start an online business. Just so that I don't waste time to figure out every single thing by myself.
Smart.
It's uncharted territory. There's no books you can, a step-by-step guide. Everyone's path will be a little bit different. So what happened was that that course actually helped me figure out between my passion and also the niche I want to be in. And then, so I realized that instead of just sharing recipes to every single person, instead of trying to please everyone, I want to be specific to that specific audience group. The course is from Rami Seiji. At that time, it's called Zero to Lunch. Now it's called, I can't remember what's it called right now. Yeah, at that time it's called Zero to Lunch. Rami Seiji. Yeah, and so I realized that the niche I want to be in is Asian-inspired Paleo recipes, because that's a good way for you to stand out from the crowd. There are thousands of food blogs out there. If you come into the market late, you have to have something specific that people see you the first time they remember.
Right.
Maybe if you're coming to the market early, probably in early 2000, you can actually be more broad, because not that many blogs on the website. Right. Probably something you would get a lot of people go there, but nowadays it's not the case anymore. Yeah.
That's interesting. So how does one, so now it's taking off, right? People they say your food is better than the takeout. So now what inspired you to say, okay, I'm going to take all of these recipes and now put it in a book? Is it, did you see like that was just a natural progression to expand your business by letting more people know the recipes that you had to offer? Like, how did that come to be?
Yeah, the book deal actually was very interesting. I was in the Facebook group, and then a lady actually introduced me to a publisher, and we started chatting, and that's how the book deal came together, Asian Paleo. And then this book was published about almost 2 years ago right now. Time flew by.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's
quickly.
Wonderful.
And then, so that book did teach me a lot of things, how to write a professional recipe, so that people from all different levels, they actually can read and they can understand your instructions. So
and did the publisher guide you? Did they guide you in doing this?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that was a very fortunate.
And what was the Facebook group? Was it just a group of women business entrepreneurs, or that you found this publisher?
Yeah, we were in a group to learn about, I can't remember, maybe we were talking about Pinterest or something. Pinterest and other social media website. And then so we're talking about how to thrive on Pinterest platform, best practices. And then that's just how we met. And then so the book was, and then after that, I decided to take my food blog to the next level. Not just only sharing recipes on the website, because people keeps coming to me. It's like, how do I actually make paleo easier to my day-to-day living, or cook for my family, or even if they retire, they want to eat better. They don't want to spend a lot of time cooking in the kitchen. ChihYu, can you help us? So that's how I basically started another program, online program called Easy Homemade, to help people plan meals. So that, later I'm gonna do a quick demo to show you guys what's the difference of Easy Homemade. Because a lot of a meal planning program is you have to have a big batch cooking day, and you divide to different containers, and you start eating the same thing every day, and people get bored with it. And then it's hard to continue because no one has the time every single week to 8 hours in the kitchen. So that's how I develop Easy Homemade to completely change the way we actually prepare meals, to make it more fun, easier, and also simpler.
But when you said you created this blog, do you also have an Instagram page? Do you do Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that another way you expanded? Do you feel social media helped you expand your business?
Yes, Instagram is a great channel. Everyone's channel is a little bit different. Some people are great on YouTube. Some people are bigger on Facebook. I happen to find in my audience on Instagram a lot. My Instagram handle is I Heart Umami.ny because I'm in New York. And then having a community there is great. Very, very encouraging people there. And then, they get direct interaction with me, and I get direct feedback from them, which is just wonderful.
That's great. So in terms of career, you shifted your career you mentioned many reasons, creating this brand. So you feel the way you created your brand was the niche, was that's the way you set yourself aside from all other food blockers and so forth. What other things did you do to create your brand?
Well, the niche, and also being consistent, show up every single day, publish regularly once or twice per week. And then when you start a blog, maybe the first year, you might not even get any people coming from your blog at all. At the beginning, I thought I started a blog, people will just find me. That was not the case at all. It took about almost a year later, the traffic started dripping in.
But how do you do that though, ChihYu? How did you build up the traffic? Where did you get the people? How did you attract them? You had to attract them to your blog, right? Advertising or any type of marketing?
No, it's 100% organic so far. 100% organic so far. Guest posts on other people's platform, they are larger than you. So this could be on the website you write a guest post blog on other people's website, or this could be, say, if you are on Instagram, you do a 1 day or like a 10-story clip takeover or something, on other people's Instagram page, for example. But remember, it's always coming from a perspective that how can you help your audience? How can you help the other people who have bigger platform? Why do they actually want you to do the takeover? What can you do to help them? What can you do to help them give them their audience the most value? From that perspective, and then be respectful and understand that not every channel, not every blog is open for guest posts, but you are okay with it. But that's a great way. That's a great way for you to actually get more people to notice you.
And how many followers? You have a lot of followers now, right?
I think the last time I checked, maybe 108, 100.
That's great.
That's
fantastic.
108,000.
And your cookbook has been sold like all over the world, right? Internationally, you've had buyers.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you sold the, how did people know or come to know your book? Is it through your social media, through your blogs, or do you also sell it through Amazon or?
Yeah, Amazon's available. It's also
Mm-hmm.
basically all bookstores, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target. And then I think a lot of people also find me just seriously through Google search. When they search for maybe Asian food, when they search for Paleo Asian food. So I would say actually Google is a big help.
So from the time discovered that there's a niche for this type of cooking till now, how many years did that take you?
4.5 years right now.
That's amazing.
Close to
That's great.
5. So
That's
it's
fast.
seriously a work that you just don't give up, you keep going. And it's a very, the technology keeps changing. So, and the platform keeps changing. And then each platform demands more of our time. And then as a solopreneur, I do have some virtual assistant to help me and some contractors to help me. But in the end of the day, you are the one wearing many hats. So you have to have a very disciplined schedule, manage your own time, and to get certain things done. And then also handle customer inquiries or maybe other stuff going on, or maybe collaborations or brand collaboration inquiries. So in a way, your mini business, you're running it by yourself. Yeah.
I was going to say, you do that all by yourself?
Yes. Yes.
You have no help whatsoever.
I have
That's
some
amazing.
help. I have some help. Yeah, I have some help, but mainly it's just me. Yeah.
And I know I want us to get to the meal prep portion, so I don't want us to run out of time. But one last question. So now this is your brand. How do you see your brand evolving over, the next couple of years?
Yeah. So right now I put the majority of my energy into Easy Homemade. We started Easy Homemade in the middle of a pandemic last year, May. And then, so we had our first generation product launched in May. And then we have new members coming in every single day. And then we become great friends. I keep in touch with them, make sure your customers happy, get more feedback from them. So the next level for my business is we're going to dish out a second generation of Easy Homemade to make it even more interface user-friendly, give more function to that. And that will involve with, talking to a lot of developers, building a website from scratch, etc. And then continue to, do collaboration. For example, because it's pandemic, everyone's locking at home. So I so appreciate this opportunity to be able to share with St. John students, alumni, and also met you, Susan, just connect with people online. And this seriously gives me open up many possibilities to basically connect with people all over the world to share
I'm so glad.
And then because I know I can help them, and then I hope more people actually will get to know me too.
I'm so glad you said that, because I've been saying that, and obviously this pandemic has not, we've lost lives and it hasn't been good. But sometimes I always say bad things, there's some good things that come out of bad things. And I'm so glad you said that, because I really find if you have this entrepreneurial spirit, there is opportunity there. And I'm sure it gave you time to really reflect and to look at, how you want to move your business to the next step. And it's really amazing. Kudos to you. For Women's History Month, you're really making the women look good here. I have to say this. I'm going to expect to see your food in the frozen section of Whole Foods or something. I'm sure this is going to happen. So please show us some of this preparation that you do and what we can do. And of course, we'll definitely ask. I know there's some questions too, and we'll get to them as well.
Yeah. So before this whole thing, so all these things, let me take the food here. This morning I was cooking some stuff, so we can have a quick walk over. And all these meals are from my meal planning program called Easy Homemade. And then she left a little URL link there in the chat box. So every single thing I put here plus more, you can get that from a download PDF if you want to, try out some dishes and then start eating healthy. And then
definitely.
Yeah, so what Easy Homemade does is, we prepare instead of a dish by dish, which will take you more time to cook and also, a lot more one-off ingredients. We actually prepare ingredient meals. So this way, it's easier for you to do mix and match or change up for different flavors. So you get to use up every single thing you buy, easier to prepare, and also you won't eating the same thing every single day. And that's the whole concept of Easy Homemade. You don't have to have one big cooking day. A lot of the time you just need to prepare 2 dishes and then you can change them up for something else. So Sue, can you see my cooktop here?
I think you have to dip it down just a little bit, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so glad you said that, though, about, that's good.
Is that good?
I'm so glad, yes. I'm so glad that you said about, because I'm actually, I'll admit, I'm trying to lose weight. And the big thing that I was having a hard time is they kept on saying you have to prep all your meals for the week. And I totally understand that, but it's a lot, and they'll say, oh, it only takes like 2 or 3 hours. But when you're kind of a caregiver to your parents and all of this, that's a lot, So
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. That's great.
Yeah. So what happened to me right now here is like, this is one example of a basic ingredient meals, is that I have ground chicken here. And then, even though it's just a ground chicken, I mixed with some carrots and petite peas in there, but it's seasoned with, minced garlic, ginger, and a little onion. And then, so, the meat is more fragrant. It's not just plain meat. This is the one thing about my cooking is that I use all this, these seasonings I call aromatics that will just, they're cheap to get and they are, easy to get them too. But when you add them to your cooking, your food will be more flavorful. So this is a 1 gram chicken. It looks nothing.
That looks good.
It's so flavorful. So this is 1 ingredient meal. The other one is, besides the protein, you always want to have some vegetables. So this is the baby bok choy. I grill them. So I slice them in half and I get my pan hot and I put the cut side down. So, and you don't touch them. So they're almost like a pan grilled. And then you season with some salt and some garlic powder. You don't even need to chop at all. The garlic powder just stick to the vegetable really well. Perfectly sealed, gorgeous. And you know what? Just these 2, you have your protein, you have your vegetables. You can pair with rice. You can pair with roasted sweet potatoes or butternut squash on the side. This is 1 basic ingredient meal, like what we do inside of Easy Homemade. A lot of families, they just serve this way because kids, they like a simple food. They don't like things too complicated. But Susan, I'm going to show you how I change it up.
That's great. But I want to say that doesn't take a long time to cook.
No.
Right? No. That's so easy. Yeah.
Not at all. So the first thing I want to show you is I'm going to make a wrap. And then, so, you can use any wrap you want. Nowadays, we have many low-carb wraps. You can even use lettuce as a wrap. So this is low-carb keto wrap made from eggs. You can also use coconut wraps. There are a lot of wraps out there right now if you want to keep it more low-carb. But the easiest one will be, butter lettuce. You can use that too. So it's a very
butter lettuce.
Yeah. So this thing wraps, and then what happens is that, say, for example, you ate this and you have leftovers. Kind of boring, right? What do you do? So you put them over. You can reheat them a little bit over stove top, just warm up the flavor a little bit. And then guess what? We have I just quickly make a sauce. This is a sweet almond butter sauce. Yeah, so it's an almond butter mixed with apple juice. So you use a fruit juice to sweeten your sauce instead of add sugar. So it's more natural. And then, so you can just drizzle it over. And then, you know what? I have toasted nuts. I can open it up. And you can add some toasted nuts over. And then you have a quick lunch.
It's great. And like you said, you could use lettuce, the butter lettuce too.
Yeah, if you use butter lettuce, actually you have extra veggies, and then so you just some nuts over, and then maybe a little more sauce, and then
You're making me hungry, ChihYu.
if you're working from home or something, or you're living by yourself, it's a very quick lunch. It's
Yeah,
done.
that's great. That's simple.
It's done.
And you have everything in there, like you said.
Right,
You have your vegetables and you have your protein.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
And then,
high in carbs, right?
yeah. Second change up, same thing, took the concept from Easy Homemade. Here I have spiralized zucchini noodles. If you're not on a super low carb diet, you can also use rice noodles that will be gluten free, or even angel hair pasta noodles if you're okay with a little wheat there. That works great too. Or Japanese soba noodle is great too. And then what happened is, what? Also, I have this 1 pound of ground chicken here. I have a lot of leftover. I'm gonna sprinkle some on top of it. So, I have some protein there that will keep you feeling more full. And then, say if I have leftover baby bok choy, let me grab chopsticks. So I have leftover baby bok choy. I'm gonna put them there inside of my bowl. See, I have a double veggies. I have zucchini already. I also have a baby bok choy, and I have my protein here. And this is another sauce. Actually, is built from our sweet almond butter sauce. I added a little bit grated garlic, a little bit of aged balsamic vinegar, just a little bit sweet touch, and some cumin powder, because it's a Chinese influenced dish, dan dan noodles, so, and just mixing with a little water, stock, or apple juice, depends on your personal taste, and it becomes a sauce for your dan dan noodle, and just drizzle it over. I'm gonna put a little bit more because I love sauce.
Me too.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, a little messy right now, but
no, that's great.
You can sprinkle nuts over too, and this becomes a beautiful dan dan noodle dish. In the URL there, you download. It has a PDF, and the inside has much better looking photos because I took all the photos so people can see what a dish is going to look like. Yeah. So
you made 3 meals with maybe 3 or 4 ingredients.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's even inexpensive too for a family.
Exactly. So you see my meal prep. When I meal prep, I cook the chicken, for example, and I grill this. I can cook it at the same time, basically, 2 stoves. And I'm done. If I want to spend a little bit more time, make a sauce, yeah, I make a sauce. But if I don't want to, easily you can quickly whip it up. And that's the beauty of the Easy Homemade, that it's very different from traditional style, and then our people love it. Yeah.
It looks delicious. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really great. Let me ask you now, you use chicken. Do you use shrimp? Do you use beef? Are you allowed to eat beef? Is that part of, you can have
absolutely,
beef?
All protein, all seafood, and
pork or anything?
Yeah, and I try to, balance inside the program that, like, there's a chicken, there's a beef, and then, there's also seafood in there. And then whenever we share a beef dish, some people don't eat red meat. I also show them how to do a chicken version and vice versa. So, people can get more variety.
And what if it's sort of like a celebratory dinner and you want to have like some sparkling drinks or something? I'm sure Sue's laughing right now. How is that included in the paleo meal plan?
You can have all of the flavor, the sparkling water, as long as there's no added sugar inside.
Right.
There's no added sugar inside. So therefore, that you are not putting your body into extra carb item that you don't need, or actually you shook up your glucose levels.
Insulin.
Because you will get insulin level that will actually give you a sugar crash. So I would say definitely read the ingredients, and once you get used to it, you will know exactly which bottle to pick.
So will you use any fruits or smoothies? Because I'm like in the morning, for me, it's really quick. I know we talked about dairy, but for me, I like the yogurt in the morning and to add some fruit. Like that's my only fruit that I give myself is in the morning. But
Yeah.
is that part of your plan? Could you do types of smoothies or shakes or something?
So far right now, no, we mainly focus on main savory dishes
Okay.
and also a lot of vegetable side dishes. Smoothie is not maybe future, but not right now. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's really great. Well, I'm sure that I know there's some questions here, and let's get to them.
Let me come
This
back.
was great, though. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It says
Fun.
here, we're going to go back to your career. It's a career question. What makes you stand out from other bloggers? I think you had said a little bit about that,
Right. Well, I
in
want to
terms of
say that,
your type of cooking, right?
yeah, and I want to say that there are many, many great bloggers out there. So I'm not someone like, I'm not a superstar. I just say what I like to do. And then people who likes my flavor, likes my cuisine, they tend to just come closer to me. So I'm not saying that, I'm someone, no, I'm not at all. But, makes you stand out, definitely pick your own niche, that something is a topic that you not only personally love, you can actually talk about it every single day and then keep on going for years and years. You won't get tired of it. You won't get sick of it. And that means that's something you truly, truly, really love. And it happened to me. I love eating. I love food. So I don't mind talking about it every single day. Not talking about it until I'm 60, 70 years old. No problem about it. So
That's great.
yeah. And then your passion shows through, but your passion needs to not just passion, that your passion needs to combine with some strategic planning. Know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just throwing eggs to the wall. Which one will stick? Maybe if you are 25 years old, you have time to do that. But when I started my career change, I was 38 years old already. So I knew that, and I had to make a living in university. I had to pay my own rent, every single thing. Otherwise, I'd be living on the street. So I know it was not a light choice for me, especially living a stable job, with great health care. It's a huge risk for me. So I had no time to waste. Yeah.
Yeah. How often do you come up with new recipes and I think you had I'll ask it again, but I think you answered the question of where these recipes are coming from. They're coming from family recipes. That's where you get your ideas.
Yeah, and also from traveling. We travel to Japan a lot. We travel to Thailand a lot. And then the next travel goal is go back to Japan again. We want to also visit Singapore, and then all the Southeast Asian countries. We absolutely love fun travel. And then I live in New York City, and then wide variety of cuisines. Yes.
Sure. Yeah. And how easy with some of these ingredients, I know that you showed, and just everyone who's listening, we definitely will share all this information in the follow-up email to you, so you will get this information. But I know with some of the ingredients, I know before we went live, you showed us this natural yeast. You can get these ingredients online or in Whole Foods or Trader Joe's.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then people always ask me, like, what's the pantry item I need to have, right? When I started making Paleo Asian food, I want to eat healthier, I want to eat less sugar. So besides the coconut aminos we talk about, that, another thing is if you love Thai food, if you love Vietnamese flavor food, grab a bottle of fish sauce. This is Red Bull fish sauce. There's no shellfish in there. Personally, sometimes I'm allergic to shellfish years ago. Now I seem to get better. There's no shellfish in there. It's just anchovy blended with sea salt. For this brand, it's really, really good. That will give you a flavor more authentic to Thai and Vietnamese cuisine. And also a bottle of toasted sesame oil. That's for Chinese flavor cuisine. These are 3 bottles I use a lot. Susan, can you believe that?
Wow.
I use basically
So
this
you don't
dish.
need a whole cabinet. I know sometimes with some
Yeah,
recipes,
I
I
have
feel
some,
like I have
but
to buy bottles and bottles of
no, no,
things, and my
no, no, no.
cabinet is filled. That's
Just
great. So even that's
start
simple.
from this three, and you
Mm-hmm.
can always build more.
Right, right.
This three basically allow me to start my blog. And then all the other stuff comes from the garlic, the ginger, the shallot, the onion, because that's the way of how people used to cook. You know, how people used to cook would build flavor from the ground up. Nowadays, you know, people used to dump things on top of it, to add things on top of it, and because it's convenient. But unfortunately, sometimes when you look at those bottles, once in a while, you know, sometimes you have that, it's okay. But if you do that every single day, and as you grow older, your body, you know, metabolism change, your needs change, you know, continues doing that, sometimes it's probably not the best idea. I know it didn't work for me, you know, when I'm turning older.
No, it's true. What you eat as a kid, you can't sometimes eat now. Your body just won't allow it. Right. And what about the cooking, your cookware? It looks like with something like this, it probably is just one skillet, right? That you can just saute everything in one pan. So it doesn't even seem like you have to do a lot of dishes afterwards.
No, no. Remember, I started this when I wasn't cooking that much. I wasn't cooking that. I was still working full time. I just wanted to eat better because I keep gaining weight. My skin was breaking out, and then my dress size keeps going up. And I was only 30 something, 37, 38. I was like, this gotta stop.
Right.
So I had
one. That's good. You realized that for yourself. You saw that you needed to do something, which was great.
Yeah, I had one cook pan, a stainless steel skillet I got from IKEA, 365 line. I don't know if they still have that right now. It's like their slightly higher line, you know, IKEA product. Nothing fancy at all. And I had one little soup pot, and so I can make soup. Yeah, you don't really need a wok in order to make things, you know.
You don't need a huge kitchen, it sounds like, either, right?
No, no.
Because everything seems
I do because
to be
that's my
simple.
job. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And how many hours do you put into your business a day?
You know, I would say actually every day, probably from 9 to 3 o'clock, I would just have to stop. I take a break in the middle because anything more than that, anything more than 5 hours, your brain is basically not really functioning that well. So I move on to do something else. So yeah. And part of being able to run your own business is you are in charge of your own time. And then what's the point that if you don't actually schedule in time to make yourself, you know, go out to have some fun, right? That's the part where you have the freedom back, you know. So that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, you're smiling, so it must be it must be a good thing, and it's working for you. What would you say the way you felt? You were saying that, you know, physically you didn't feel healthy, and now, what's the feeling that you have right now for everything that you accomplished? What would you, if it was a word, what would you describe it as? Is the way that you're feeling now with your business and everything that, you know, over these last 5 years?
I am grateful at where I am right now. I'm grateful to my audience, to my community, and feel with so many supported women. And also we do have some dudes, some guys in the community, but a lot more women. Yes, but we do have some boys in the community, and they're very sweet, they're very cute. And I'm grateful for my community, but there's more work to do. There's more work to do. And maybe because I'm Asian, I grew up in a household like this, you can always do better. And just constantly that I want to do better. I want to serve my audience better. And yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, we're grateful for you for coming on today and sharing all your talents and your story. It's a beautiful story, and it really is. It's all because of you. I mean, you really should pat yourself on the back and be proud. But it also shows that family, and when you have a great role model like your father,
Yeah,
he really believed in you. And when you have people that support you and really believe in you, you can do
yeah,
amazing things. So it's
yeah,
really important for people, if they don't have that in their family, to find a mentor and to find some type of support, because you can really go a lot further when you have people, cheering you on and realizing your talents and letting those talents develop and flourish. And I think it's such a great story for Women's History Month, because I think sometimes women are very hard on themselves. And sometimes we don't have those mentors that can really push us to do a lot more than what we're doing for ourselves and for our lives. But it seems like your audience is women. I think we had talked about this in the test run. Did you say it's more younger professional and then probably more people my age, like 40s, 50s, and older? Would you say that's your audience?
yes, yes. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's natural. It's natural, maybe the kids are out of the household, went to college, or maybe have their own life right now, and
Right.
start looking into their own house. They finally have time to take care of themselves. Or, people who are, single professionals, or maybe they have a partner in life, have life start settling down a little bit more, and then they want to start eating better. So, yeah,
That's
as a
great.
audience.
Well, we wish you all the best. And
Thank
like I said, I'm seeing a lot more. There'll probably even be trucks with your food trucks with your name on it or something. I see a lot more. There's a lot more coming from you. I know for a fact. I can see it. I can hear it in your voice, because like you said, once you have the passion, then you're really going to put the time and energy into developing it, even developing your business even more. So
Yeah,
that's wonderful, really. And if, hopefully with the pandemic, everyone's getting their vaccines, we can hopefully meet you in person, and you can come onto campus, and maybe we can
yeah,
have a nice little dinner or luncheon, and we can
yeah,
invite our society members to join you and
yeah,
share your food with
yeah.
you. That would be really nice.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And I also want to have one last thing to say, like, I appreciate this opportunity so much. And I enjoy chatting with you, Susan. And also, this country has seriously given me all different possibilities that, it's telling me that even though I was a musician, it's possible that I can actually start a business, a second career that, so a lot of the time, in where I came from, a lot of the time people believe if this is a degree you have, this is the job you're supposed to have. I can't say nowadays right now because I left there several years ago. But at least when I was there, that's what people believe. If you graduate with an English degree, you should be an English teacher. That's the trajectory you have.
Sure.
But in America, that's the possibility that you can do as a first generation immigrant here, that I'm a musician, but I want to start my own business and I love food. Let's start a food business and let's go.
I love it. Well, that's another great story. I mean, as an immigrant coming, to America, and that's very nice. Thank you. As a native born American, God bless America, as we say. That's what makes America great, and it offers opportunities for everybody who come to live here. And again, you're a product of that. Do you have anything, and I didn't ask you this, but now that you've brought it up, do you have anything to share with not only women, but any immigrants, or I would say the Asian community, or even minorities? Anything, from that perspective, that something that you learned or that you saw, that maybe that's advice that you can pass on to them?
um, well, um, I was believing myself, you know, um, I always think if you come from a perspective that, you give the best to whatever you do, that, I'm not looking for every single person to like me. I'm not looking for every single person to agree with me. but as long as I serve that specific group of people, regardless of the size, I can make their day happier, more enjoyable. I did a good job for them. So in the end of the day, that's what matters to me. And then I always have this belief that, although I have an accent in my English, but you know what, it could be work for my advantage because I'm cooking Asian food. And then my food probably tastes more authentic. That's great. So use your, I don't want to say disadvantage, but maybe there are things that, maybe I grew up, I don't have it, maybe you have it, or maybe I have it, you don't have it, that turn that into an advantage for you. And then I never see myself like, oh, I can't get this, I don't have that. So no, this is me. I'm going to do my best for you. And then you like me, great. If you don't, I'm sorry, maybe next time.
Well, I'm going to tell you, we love you. So there's no question there. And you're absolutely right. Whatever your assets are, definitely use those to your advantage. I think that's great advice. Thank you, ChihYu. You're a doll. I love you. I think this was terrific. I really enjoyed it, and you inspired me. I'm cooking tonight, and I have bok choy actually in my refrigerator. So I'm going to try your version of bok choy. So you inspired me. I'll let you know how I do on the scale, because you might have inspired me, and my scale might go down, hopefully. So thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed today's Power Hour. And like I said, we will definitely share all this great wisdom and information. And maybe you want to try out ChihYu's cookbook. Definitely, I would recommend that you get it. It looks like it's healthy for you and something that we need to be healthy, especially during the pandemic. So thank you again. We hope to see you next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And hopefully we'll meet you in person, ChihYu, one of these days. Thank you. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thanks for
Take
having
care.
me. Thank you.
Enjoy the nice weather. Bye-bye.